We will be sitting down for a while, so if you want to stand up and shake your legs while we welcome the next speaker. Maria Francesca Iozzi. Her background is computational material science. Now she works at the IT unit at the University of Oslo, USIT. Her field is sensitive data, so you might have your questions answered in the next half hour or so. She works with the TDS, provides usability that can said to be comparable with other repositories to the sensitive data. Last time I saw something about it, you were developing apps to enhance usability. So please tell us more. Yes. Maria. If I get the screen. Yeah. You can applaud while we wait for the
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Thanks for the introduction. Yes, I was for quite some time a researcher in material science. And then I got I got involved with the IT part of it, and eventually I ended up in USIT. So I know more or less, I'm proud to say that I know more or less what means dealing with data of a certain complexity as a researcher with the urge to publish. But I also know how difficult it might be from a technical point of view to create collections that are persistent. So thanks for the previous talker. I really appreciate you, as me, as many others, as a mandate for open science, and so open data. But this is going to be completely opposite. So I'm going to talk about secure data, so data that are by definition not open at all. So I'm now working as a manager of TSD, which is in Norwegian Tjeneste for sensitive data. And it's a service for securing and collecting, storing, analyzing sensitive data. So I will make a short introduction of what it is sensitive, and then a bit of the story of TSD, and then I will draw some requirements. If I have time, I will make a demonstration, but I don't think this is the crucial point. Not even the technical solution is a point here. It's the concept, which is important for the researcher. So what is sensitive? When I heard about your videos of your PhD, I thought, cool, if you managed to put everything in, on the net, but make sure it has no faces. Because if it does have a face, that video is sensitive, is personal. And if someone of the lawyers in any data protection authority see that you have put a face into the net, they sue you. They might take all the data back from you and say, okay, your project is for the moment frozen. And this is because the legislation is very strict. It's strict in Norway, but now we are going to have a European legislation, which has been published last year in May, but will come in force in May 2018, which regulate all the privacy issue with regard to storing and handling sensitive data, personal sensitive data. So what is a personal data? Personal data is the data that contains information about the human being, which has provided. And a sensitive data is the data that makes the person recognizable according some aspect, like religious belief, like political attitude, whether this person has been convicted or no, whether it has a special, about his sexual life and everything. So if a data can recognize you according to this feature that you own, you and only own, and that recognize you uniquely, then this is sensitive data. And this data requires special care. So how many of you are lawyers here? So I can speak. Det funkar. Okay, who owns a personal data? No one has an idea? It's what they call the subject. It's the person. You as a person, if you deliver an information about yourself, you own that data. It's not the researcher that has collected you. I'm sorry, researcher, but these data are not yours. Even though I have made this questionnaire, I have made an extensive investigation, and I have this set of data. No, those are not yours. Those data are owned by the person you collect from. And because you just borrow it, you need to be very, very careful. Because if I borrow something from you, I have to be sure that I treat it with care. And that's the same concept here. So who has sensitive data? Well, everyone. You are the sensitive data. But in science, every department, from the Faculty of Medicine to social science, psychology, librarians, social investigation collects sensitive data, theology. The theology department has sensitive data, of course, psychiatry and all sorts of this, journalism, political science, everything. So, and then you are wondering, do I deal with sensitive data? Good that you are wondering. That's already good. Well, normally, if you have data that contain information about a person, you better start wondering. And you better start investigating. Most likely, you already know, because to process this data, you have to have a formal approval from a data protection authority, which in case of Norway and in case the University of Oslo is NSD, but there are many data protection authorities. So now we know that dealing with sensitive data is painful, might be painful. So the requirement came very strong already in 2009. Then we had at USIT, we have a first pilot between 2009 and 2012 to design a service that was able to handle sensitive data. And then there was another project in 2012 until 2014, and in 2014 we launched what is called now TSD. And this was a very big and rather big opening, expected by many user community, actually. We started with 30 pilot projects, and they really needed it. We were really excited by a number of new activity openings up that day. It was opening at the University of Oslo by the director, and since then, it was May 2014, and we had 30 pilots project. In May 2016, we had 160. So quite impressive in 2 years. But what is even more impressive is that as of today, so here, we have 280 project. We have more than 1 petabyte of sensitive data stored. We have more than 600 users. So this was needed. I'm sorry, I also have a mandate for open science, but eventually this was needed. And why it was needed? Exactly because we have a mandate for open science. Before, dealing with sensitive data, researchers were forced to sit on their local laptop, making sure that the laptop was not connected to internet while they were doing science, while they were analyzing this data. This was the common practice. Local facility, very poorly arranged, with few software, everything local. But this is against the concept of science, because science is sharing. You want to work together with others. You want to share opinions, set of data. Eventually aggregate data. So that was our concept. We want to build up something that we find within a secure confine. It allows sharing. This was quite new. So what were the system requirements in detail? We wanted to build up something that was playing well in the edge between security and usability. I can tell you, sometimes researchers, when they start using TSD, they say, oh, but this is painful. I have to connect to a remote server. Oh, gosh, I have to use two-factor authentication. Well, this is the price to pay when you deal with sensitive data. But we offer something. When you eventually land it up, then you can do a lot of things. So it's a good compromise between security and usability, but it's also a good compromise between integrity and sharing. Because we allow sharing, but we have backup. We have metadata. We have logs. We have a snapshot. Everything is in there. How much time I have? 12 minutes. So isolation is the primary concern. The system is built up and is completely confined inside a very strong firewall. We have access control and two-factor authentication, meaning that researcher has to log in with username, password, and one-time code, like internet banking. And when someone complains about this two-factor authentication, I say, why you don't complain when you log into your internet banking? Because it's your money, right? And this is the same. It's data that has to be safe. And then it has regulated import and export. Usability. Usability means you can connect to the system, the TSD, and work on your sensitive data even if you sit in a bar, everywhere in the world. It's enough to have an internet connection. We offer Linux and Windows platform to cover all the flavors, and we offer a portfolio of software that allows users to do their research, and we offer high-performance computing. We allow multiple users in the same project, so the same set of data are accessible to by multiple users, and this is possible only if the principal investigator allows it. We have large storage capability. We have data collection tool, data analysis tool. And as I said, we have backup and snapshot to preserve integrity we have automatized operation, and we have logging. So I will not make the demonstration, probably at the end. We have several users that has made extensive use of TSD. I could mention a lot of them, but I pick up just only two. This is an extensive investigation of kids having allergies. And the investigation and the researcher collect data from when the mother is 18 weeks pregnant until the kid is 6 years old, every 6 months. We collect something like 60,000 answers inside TSD. And this was a very huge project. It is a very huge project. But we have something else. We offer to University of Oslo the possibility to make app that delivers data inside TSD. So here I've reported one. This app was made to collect data regarding intake of food. So we have several things that are going on. We have a group of users that has won 2 grants, European grants, after they started to work in TSD. And they were originally something like 5 persons. Now there are 30, between student, PhD, and postdoc. So and this is because it allows some possibility, TSD. Technical solution, I don't know why, yeah. As I said, it's a very close, solid firewall. Inside the firewall, there is a virtual server, there is a high-performance computing, there is a storage capability, there are database, everything inside there, but the user will never get directly to the facility. They only log in through 2-factor authentication to a front-end machine, and from there, they launch the virtual machine. The virtual machine is there, it's their private server for the project. It's dedicated to them. As I said, we have Linux virtual machine and Windows virtual machine. We offer all sorts of software for analysis, especially statistical analysis, but also we have the high-performance computing cluster that allows genomic sequencing. When we launched, it became rather clear that an analysis that could have taken 2 to 3 months on a local facility, when done in TSD, it can take 2 to 3 days. So it's very important for us to serve the genomic community, the people doing genomic sequencing, but also social science. I will skip this. Also, social science is a community that we serve a lot because of this tool of NetSchema, which is a data collection tool that allows web-based questionnaire. It allows data to be collected via web-based questionnaire. And the way we have interfaced TSD with NetSchema is such that the data workflow is completely secure. So we collect data from the NetSchema server and deliver it inside TSD without worrying at all about security, because everything is encrypted and secure proven. NetSchema is very easy to use. It's something that user can start using it after 30 minutes of practice. They can go in production like this, and they can start collecting data. And once the net schema is in production, then the data pop up automatically inside TSD. So this is a very, net schema is a kind of, the interface between TSD and net schema has been like a win-win situation for both of the service. But we are going even further. We want to enable web service to deliver directly inside TSD. And this will allow something which is extremely important nowadays. Data can be collected by smartphone through an app. So if you do a research, social science, and you want people to give you the information about how much they have slept, it's enough to provide an app that is possible to download from any app provider, and they start collecting data from the app, sending, and the data will pop up inside TSD automatically. So this was a short digression, but it's important because we are opening new frontier now. The way we collect data, but not only us, let's say the landscape of data is getting more and more complex. Data can be collected from everywhere by every means. Okay, security, I've mentioned it already, two-factor authentication, and everything has been designed since day one to be approved by the security officer of WIO. So we have a risk analysis, everything is completely secure. If you apply for approval to the data protection authority, let's say NSD, and you say, I'm planning to collect the data in TSD, then you have better chance to have the approval. So this is the counter-proof. Capability enabled in TSD, as I mentioned, large-scale genomic sequencing, something that was really painful before, is becoming doable now inside TSD. It's not anymore too much expensive from a timing point of view. People can get very good analysis in reasonable time. But we also allow large-scale medical imaging study, and we allow, as I said, data collection from a web browser and app. We allow people to work from everywhere, and we secure the storage, even in long-term storage of data that has to be published. We provide electronic consent, and we give support for video and audio analysis. How many? It's time. Okay, we also support journal system. We have data collection tool from app. We are going to have data collection tool from app. And we are going to have push notification from TSD to the app. Nordic and European collaboration. TSD is involved in the Nike Trigger project, which aims at facilitating the sharing of sensitive data across border in the Nordics. Elixir collaborate also. We have Trigger collaborate also with Elixir and DGA, which are dealing with data that are human data. And we are almost happy to collaborate with everyone. more about just a few words about the future of TSD. We are becoming a national service under the umbrella of UNINETT Sigma. We want to support biobanks, which is not easy. But we believe that it's the best synergy. And we want to be engaged in European activity like EUDAT, especially with the idea of providing solution that allows not the sharing of data, sensitive data across Europe, that would be too ambitious, but at least to centralize metadata, anonymized metadata, just to make the data that are sensible discoverable in some way. And then we want to support core facilities. I think I'm done.
Thank you very much. We will have time to mingle during lunch from 12 o'clock. But of course, if someone has a very urgent question, we can take it as we go along. Here's an umbrella for you, Maria. Thank you so much for coming. It was referred to NSD a couple of times.